I'd just stepped onto the town's football field, the welcome home banner still reeking of fresh paint, when my mother grabbed my wrist and yanked me from the lineup like I was some imposter. She smirked coldly. "You think you're a hero?" Camera lights blazed into my face, cheers morphing into whispers. In my pocket sat evidence that could silence an entire bloodline. And tonight, everything would turn right here at this ceremony meant to honor me. My name is Nora Caldwell, and after 9 months deployed with the Guard, I thought coming home to Cedar Grove, Ohio, would mean peace. Instead, I stood in my new Riverside loft at 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, staring at my phone as my brother Mason's voice blared through the speaker. "We're moving in Friday. Mom already gave permission." The words hung in the air like smoke from a distant fire. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the river caught the last of October's light, golden threads weaving between the industrial bridges. This place, my place, had cost me 6 years of 12-hour days and weekend shifts at Meridian Apex Systems, climbing from junior coordinator to senior campaign manager. Every exposed brick, every steel beam, every square foot was mine. "Mason," I said, keeping my voice level despite the familiar tightness creeping up my spine. "This is my home. You need my permission, and you don't have it." "Come on, Nora, don't be like that. It's just temporary." "No." The word came out clean, sharp. For 29 years, I'd never said it to family. Not when Mom borrowed my summer job savings at 17 for Mason's car repairs. Not when Dad insisted I co-sign Mason's apartment lease that he defaulted on within 3 months. Not through the silent treatments when I hesitated. The guilt trips wrapped in "family helps family." "Mom said you'd be cool with it. She gave us your door code." My fingers found the security app before he'd finished the sentence. 4 taps codes changed, intrusion alerts activated, auto record enabled. The metal of my phone felt cold against my palm. "She had no right to do that. The codes are changed. If you show up, you're trespassing." "Are you seriously?" I ended the call. Within minutes, my phone erupted, Mom calling, Dad texting, aunts I hadn't heard from in months suddenly concerned about family unity. I let them all go to voicemail while I pulled up my laptop and typed a clear email to both parents and Mason. "To be absolutely clear, you do not have permission to enter or reside in my property at 451 Riverview District. Any attempt to do so will be considered trespassing and handled accordingly." Timestamp 7:14 p.m. Tuesday, October 10th. Sent. Documented. The phone rang again. Mom this time. I almost didn't answer, but some masochistic part of me wanted to hear what Lorraine Caldwell would say when her usual tactics hit a wall. "Nora, sweetie." Her voice dripped honey over steel. "Mason just called me crying. How could you do this to your brother? How could you give him my door code without asking me? He's family. He needs help. That boy Tessa is pregnant, and they need somewhere stable. Then they can stay with you." Silence. Then, "Our house isn't big enough." "Your house has 4 bedrooms. Mom, my loft has 1. "Don't be selfish, Nora. You've always had more than you need while poor Mason struggles." Poor Mason is 31 years old. My free hand clenched around my Army Challenge coin, its edges biting into my palm. He's had 7 jobs in 5 years, each one ending when he decided showing up was optional. I won't enable it anymore. Enable, is that what you call helping family? Some therapy speak you picked up. It's what I call reality. You were always jealous of him, even as children. I'm hanging up now. Mom, my decision is final. If you do this, Nora, there will be consequences. Your father and I ended the call. My phone immediately buzzed. A text from Tessa, Mason's girlfriend. "Nora, I'm sorry. Mason told me you'd already agreed. I just found out he lied. I tried to tell him we should get our own place, but he insisted. I'm sorry. At least someone in this mess had integrity." I texted back, "Not your fault, Tessa, but he's still not moving in. This is not negotiable." Wednesday passed in a blur of work and ignored calls. Thursday brought more of the same. I briefed Jules Park, my colleague who headed HR at Meridian Apex, about the situation just in case. She listened with the focus that made her exceptional at her job, dark eyes serious behind her glasses. "Document everything," she said. "Every call, every text. And Nora, good for you. Boundaries aren't betrayal, no matter what anyone says." By Thursday night, I'd archived 43 missed calls, 18 voicemails, and 67 texts. I'd also installed an additional security camera aimed at my front door and confirmed with building security that the guest list was updated no one named Caldwell except me. Friday would come whether I was ready or not, and for the first time in my life, I would hold the line. The pattern started when I was 17. I'd worked doubles at Romano's Pizza all summer, oil burns stippling my forearms, saving for college textbooks. $3,000 sat in my account by August until Mom cornered me in the kitchen one morning at 6:15. Mom, Mason needs help with his car," she'd said, already holding my checkbook she'd fished from my backpack. "Just a loan. He'll pay you back when he gets his job at the dealership." The job never materialized. Neither did the money. When I asked about it months later, I got 2 weeks of silent treatment and Dad's disappointed headshakes at dinner. The message was clear: good daughters don't keep score. At 22, fresh out of basic training, it was co-signing Mason's apartment lease. Just until he establishes credit. 3 months later, the eviction notice came to me. My credit score dropped 70 points. Mason had spent the rent money on cryptocurrency that tanked within weeks. At 25, it was a small loan of $5,000 for Mason's revolutionary app idea. The app never launched. The money vanished into what I later learned were online poker sites. Each time, the same script: Mason's crisis, Mom's manipulation, Dad's enabling silence, my eventual surrender. $40,000 over a decade. Documented in bank statements I'd pulled last month in a moment of morbid curiosity, $40,000 of my labor converted into their entitlement. But something had shifted during deployment. Maybe it was leading supply convoys through hostile territory where boundaries meant survival. Maybe it was Sergeant Torres telling me over MREs at 2 a.m. that family can be the enemy of progress if you let them. Or maybe I'd finally just gotten tired of bleeding myself dry for people who saw me as an ATM with a guilt complex. The phone rang again, Thursday night. "Mom, Nora, we need to talk about this reasonably." "There's nothing to discuss." My answer is no. "You're being cruel. Mason's expectations aren't my responsibility. Family helps family. Nora, that's how we raised you." "No, Mom. You raised me to give everything and expect nothing. You raised Mason to take everything and offer nothing. I'm done with that dynamic." Her voice turned ice sharp. "You think you're better than us now, with your fancy loft and your big job. I think I've earned the right to decide who lives in my home." That apartment could help Mason get on his feet, like the last apartment helped, or the one before that, or the job references I gave that he made me look foolish for, or the money I'll never see again. "Don't be dramatic. You're exaggerating." "I have receipts. Mom, literally. Would you like me to email them to you?" Silence stretched between us like a taut wire. "This is about that girl, isn't it?" Mom pivoted, voice honeyed again. "Tessa's poisoning him against stable employment. If we could just get them somewhere safe." "Tessa texted me yesterday. She wanted their own place. Mason insisted on mine. She found out he lied about having my permission. She's the only honest person in this situation besides me." "How dare you? I'm done. Mom, the answer is no. Forever no. If Mason shows up tomorrow, I'm calling the police." "You wouldn't dare embarrass the family like that." "Try me. You're going to regret this, Nora." When you're old and alone, when you need help, remember this moment. Remember how you turned your back on blood. I'll remember it as the moment I stopped setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. The line went dead. I sat in my kitchen afterward, nursing a beer and watching the river lights dance on my ceiling. My phone buzzed with another text from Cousin Ray. Heard about the Mason situation. Good for you. Someone needed to cut the cord, offering support if you need it. At least I wasn't completely alone in this. I pulled up my recording app and checked every call from the past week, captured and stored. My email to Mason, read but unanswered. Tessa's admission of his deception, screenshot and saved. Building Security's confirmation of the updated access list, forwarded to my personal email. Tomorrow would bring whatever it brought. But I was ready. 6 years of working 12-hour days, weekend shifts, missed holidays, and postponed life to build something of my own. I wouldn't hand it over to someone who'd destroy it within months and then blame me for not giving more. The Army had taught me about defensive positions. Sometimes, the best strategy wasn't to advance or retreat, but to dig in and hold your ground. My phone showed 11:58 p.m. when I finally went to bed. Tomorrow, the real test would begin. Friday arrived wrapped in gray drizzle, the kind that seeps through jacket seams and fogs windows. I'd taken the day off work, told Jules I needed to handle a family situation. She'd nodded knowingly and reminded me to document everything. At 11:43 a.m., my security app pinged. Motion at the building entrance. I pulled up the camera feed on my laptop and watched a U-Haul truck lumber into frame. Mason at the wheel. Our parents' sedan trailing behind like a funeral procession. The building's intercom crackled to life. Mason's voice. "Hey, sis, we're here. Buzz us in." I didn't move. "Nora, come on, it's raining. Let us up." Silence. Then Mom's voice, pitched for performance. "Nora, sweetie, please, we just want to talk." I hit the intercom button. "You were told not to come. Leave now, or I'm calling the police." "You wouldn't—" I dialed Riverview Police on speaker, loud enough for the intercom to catch. "Yes, I need to report a trespassing in progress at 451 Riverview District. Multiple individuals refusing to leave the property." The response was swift, 2 patrol cars within 8 minutes. I watched from my window as Officers Martinez and Kowalski approached the U-Haul. The body camera footage would later show Mason's face shifting from cocky to confused to furious as they explained trespassing laws. Mom played to the cameras immediately, hands clasped, tears on command. "Officers, this is a family matter. My daughter is having some kind of breakdown. We're just trying to help. Ma'am, the property owner has made it clear you're not welcome. You need to leave." "But she's my daughter. This is Mason's home too." "No, ma'am, it's not. The lease is in Ms. Caldwell's name only. You're trespassing." Dad finally spoke, his voice carrying that false authority he used at town council meetings. "Officers, surely we can resolve this without—" "Sir, you can resolve it by leaving. Now." Mason lost it then. Through my window, I watched him pick up a rock from the landscaping. Officer Martinez stepped forward. "Drop it. Now." The rock fell. Martinez's hand stayed on his service weapon. "That's attempted breaking and entering if you throw it. You want to add criminal charges to this." The official report would note, Subject Mason Caldwell became agitated and picked up a potential projectile but complied when warned. Family was issued formal trespass warnings. No arrests made. They left, but the real storm was just beginning. Within an hour, Mom's Facebook post went live. "Heartbroken. After everything we've done for her, our daughter has called the police on her own family, throwing her pregnant sister-in-law onto the street. Some children forget where they come from." The comments flooded in. Aunts, uncles, church friends, people I hadn't spoken to in years all suddenly had opinions about my character. The narrative was set ungrateful daughter versus struggling family. Only Ray pushed back. "Maybe wait for the whole story before judging?" Just saying. She got attacked immediately. By 3 p.m., my work email pinged. "Jules, urgent flag. Nora, need you to see this immediately." Forwarded to her was an anonymous email sent to Meridian Apex's ethics hotline. "Nora Caldwell uses company resources for personal vendettas. sending threatening emails during work hours. She's unstable and vindictive. Check her computer logs. My stomach dropped, then hardened. They'd gone after my job. Jules called immediately. Obviously, I have to investigate officially. But Nora, I'm looking at your activity logs right now. Every email about this situation was sent after hours from your personal device. This complaint, it's malicious and false. Can you trace who sent it? It is working on it. But Nora, this is serious. Filing a false ethics complaint is potential defamation. Keep documenting. The investigation wrapped by Monday. Jules's report was thorough. Complaint investigated and found to be deliberately false. All cited communications occurred outside work hours on personal devices. Complainant's IP address traces to residential address associated with subject's family members. Recommendation: close with prejudice. Consider legal referral for malicious false reporting. Mason showed up at my office building Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Security called up. I told them no access. But he waited outside, catching me at the garage entrance at 6:20 p.m. You cost me everything. He shoved close enough that I could smell the beer on his breath. That apartment? Tessa's pissed. Mom and Dad. Step back, Mason. Or what you'll call the cops again. Destroy my life more. You destroyed your own life. I just stopped funding it. His face twisted. You're going to regret this. I'll make sure of it. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You frigid? I held up my phone, recording app clearly visible. Say it, please. Give me more evidence. He backed off but spat his words. You'll pay for this. Security had already responded to my text. 2 guards appearing at the garage entrance. Mason left, but not before kicking the concrete pillar hard enough that I heard something in his foot crack. That night, I compiled everything: the trespass report, the false ethics complaint with IP trace, the security footage from my building and office, Mason's recorded threats, screenshots of every online attack. My cousin Ray called at 9:15 p.m. Nora, you okay? This is insane. I'm done being their doormat, Ray. About time. Need anything? Just keep being the one sane voice in this family. That's a low bar, but I'll take it. I smiled for the first time in days. The storm wasn't over, not even close. But I was finally fighting back instead of just taking the hits. The certified letter arrived at my office on Thursday at 2:15 p.m., hand-delivered by a process server who looked bored. The law firm's letterhead was impressive: Brennan, Whitfield and Associates, the kind of place that charged $500 an hour to sound intimidating. Ms. Nora Caldwell, it began. Our clients, Lorraine and Hank Caldwell, have retained us regarding your recent defamatory actions and intentional infliction of emotional distress upon your family. The demands escalated quickly. $75,000 for reputational damage, immediate access to my property for Mason, and a public apology for malicious prosecution via false police reports. I texted Quinn Mercer, a lawyer I'd met through Army connections, before I'd finished reading. She called back in 10 minutes. Nora, this is bullshit intimidation. Send me everything, and I mean everything, every text, email, recording, receipt for the past 10 years. 10 years. Trust me, we're going to bury them in their own pattern. I spent the weekend building what Quinn called the timeline of financial abuse. 10 years of bank statements, canceled checks, text messages begging for repayment, emails with Mason's broken promises. The total was staggering: $43,700 in direct transfers, not counting the credit damage from his defaulted lease. Quinn's office was all glass and steel efficiency, her manner equally sharp when we met Monday at 9 a.m. They made a mistake sending this letter, she said, manicured nails tapping the demand. They've opened the door for us to countersue. Financial exploitation, harassment, defamation that Facebook post alone is actionable. I don't want their money, I just want them gone. Sometimes the best defense is a nuclear offense. Watch. Her response letter was a masterpiece of legal violence. Sent that afternoon. Dear Mr. Brennan, Your client's claims are both factually and legally baseless. My client has documented evidence of over $40,000 in unrepaid loans to Mason Caldwell, orchestrated through emotional manipulation by your clients. The trespass warnings were lawfully issued. The ethics complaint your clients filed was fraudulent, as confirmed by IP tracking. Your client's social media defamation campaign is documented and actionable. Demand: cease all contact with my client immediately. Any further harassment will result in criminal charges and civil action seeking full restitution plus damages. The attached evidence packet is a sample. We have significantly more. Your clients have 48 hours to withdraw their threats or we file. The blowback was immediate. Mom called 17 times in an hour. Dad sent texts alternating between rage and pleading. Mason left a voicemail that Quinn immediately saved. You think you're smart with your lawyer? We'll destroy you. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. Then, something unexpected happened. My phone rang Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Unknown number. Nora, this is Dorothy Chen. I dated Mason about 2 years ago. I remembered her vaguely from family dinners, a quiet woman with kind eyes who disappeared after about 6 months. Dorothy, hi. What? I heard what's happening. Mason lived with me for 3 months. Rent-free, destroyed my apartment, threatened me when I asked him to leave. I filed a police report but never followed through because your mother begged me not to, said it would ruin his future. Dorothy, I'm so sorry. Don't be. But listen, I kept everything. Texts, photos of the damage, the police report, even a recording of him threatening to hurt my cat if I kicked him out. If you need it for court. Yes. God. Yes. Can you send it to my lawyer? Already typing the email. Nora, he's dangerous when cornered. Be careful. Quinn incorporated Dorothy's evidence immediately, along with an affidavit she'd provided. The pattern was undeniable now, not just against me, but serial exploitation enabled by our parents. Thursday brought escalation. Mom's lawyer sent an amended demand $100,000 now, plus immediate compliance with providing housing. Quinn laughed out loud when she called me. They're panicking. Doubling down when caught is classic. Time to end this. Friday at 11 a.m. Mason appeared in the Meridian Apex lobby. Security alerted me immediately, but he was already causing a scene, demanding to see me, telling anyone who'd listen that I'd destroyed his family. I took the security chief and Jules with me. Mason's face was red, fists clenched. There she is. He pointed at me like an accusation. The sister who threw her pregnant girlfriend on the street. Mason, leave, now, or what you'll ruin my life more. You've taken everything. I've taken nothing. I've just stopped giving. He stepped forward aggressively. Security moved to intercede, but not before he snarled, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear, You're going to regret this. Nora. I promise you'll pay. That's a threat. Mason, on camera, with witnesses. His face went white as he realized the security cameras, the phones recording, the number of witnesses in professional attire who'd heard everything. Security escorted him out. Jules documented everything for corporate records. The security chief pulled the footage immediately and provided copies. That afternoon, I filed for a temporary restraining order. Quinn attached everything: the trespass report, the false ethics complaint, Dorothy's evidence, the lobby footage, the voicemails, the texts. The judge signed it at 4:45 p.m. Your family appears to have a documented pattern of harassment and exploitation, she said, looking over her glasses. The temporary order is granted. The hearing for a permanent order is set for 3 weeks. The TRO was served that evening. Mom's Facebook exploded again. But this time, several people pushed back. Dorothy had posted her own story, with receipts. Ray shared it. Jules's husband, who'd met my parents once and found them creepy, shared it too. The narrative was cracking, but I knew they wouldn't stop. Cornered animals never do. The Cedar Grove High School gymnasium smelled exactly as I remembered floor wax, old wood, and decades of small-town pride soaked into the bleachers. They'd strung up welcome banners for the veterans' homecoming ceremony, red, white, and blue bunting framing the makeshift stage. Local news had sent a camera crew. The mayor stood at the podium, working through the list of honored veterans. Sergeant Nora Caldwell, Army National Guard, recently returned from deployment. I stood from my folding chair on the gym floor, smoothing my dress uniform, and started toward the line of veterans being recognized. That's when I saw them, Mom and Dad, cutting through the crowd from the side bleachers like sharks through water. Mom reached me first, her fingers closing around my wrist with practiced force. "We need to talk." "Not here. Mom, let go." But she was already pulling, using my instinct not to make a scene against me. Dad flanked my other side, his hand on my elbow, and together they steered me away from the formation. The crowd was watching now, whispers rippling through the bleachers. "Get your hands off me," I said, voice low but firm. Instead, Mom raised her voice, pitched to Carrie. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the disruption, but family troubles can't wait." She turned to face the crowd, still gripping my wrist. "This is our daughter, the one being honored today. The same daughter who called the police on her own family, who threw her pregnant sister-in-law onto the street." The gymnasium went silent except for the hum of the overhead lights. "Mom, stop." She smiled then, that cold half-smile I'd seen before every calculated cruelty of my childhood. "Shh, you think you're a hero standing up there in your uniform while your brother suffers, while you live in luxury and we struggle." The cameras swung our way. Someone's phone flash went off. The mayor stood frozen at the podium, microphone still hot, uncertain whether to intervene. "She has a restraining order against her own brother," Mom announced to the crowd. "What kind of person does that? What kind of soldier abandons family?" "The kind whose family steals $40,000 from her," I said, finding my voice. "The kind whose family files false complaints to her employer. The kind whose family—" Dad's voice boomed over mine, that commanding tone from his construction site days. "Our daughter has mental health issues from her deployment. We've tried to help, but she's become paranoid, vindictive." "That's a lie, and you know it." Mom's grip tightened, nails digging crescents into my skin. "Look at her," she said to the crowd. "Attacking her own parents at a public ceremony? This is who you're honoring, someone who values money over blood." The local news reporter pushed closer, camera light blinding. Mom played to it perfectly, tears appearing on command. "We just wanted to reconcile, to heal our family. But she cares more about her possessions than people." Someone in the crowd booed. Then another. A woman called out, "Family should stick together." My face burned. Everything I'd built, the respect I'd earned through service, the reputation I'd maintained crumbling in real time before 200 witnesses and a news camera. Mason appeared then, despite the restraining order, pushing through the crowd. "There's my sister, the one who—" "Mr. Caldwell, you need to leave," Officer Martinez said, appearing from the crowd. He'd been doing event security. "There's a restraining order." At her own brother's hometown, Mom shrieked. She brought police to keep family away. The gym erupted in mixed reactions, some supporting me, others buying into Mom's performance. The mayor finally spoke into the microphone. "Perhaps we should take a brief recess." "No," Mom said, turning to face him. "Let everyone see what kind of person you're honoring. My daughter, who has everything, denying shelter to family in need, who weaponizes the legal system against her own blood." She released my wrist finally, but only to pull out her phone, showing the crowd something on the screen. "This is the mansion she lives in, riverside views, and she won't give her brother a couch to sleep on." The crowd's energy shifted, uglier now. Someone muttered about rich people. Another voice said something about forgetting where you came from. The mayor cleared his throat. "Due to the disruption, we'll need to postpone the individual honors." "Good," Mom said, that cold smile widening. "She doesn't deserve honor. She deserves shame." My unit sergeant, Tom Bradley, stepped forward then. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to— I'm leaving," Mom announced. "We've said what needed saying. Everyone knows the truth now." They walked out together, Mom, Dad, and Mason, like they'd choreographed it. The gymnasium remained silent for a long moment after the doors closed behind them. The mayor fumbled with his notes. "We'll, resume the ceremony after we reorganize." But the damage was done. The video was already uploading to Facebook, to YouTube, to the local news site. By the time I got home that night, "Ungrateful daughter" was trending locally. The comment sections were war zones, my military service, my years of work, my entire identity reduced to a viral moment of public humiliation. Ray called at 11:45 p.m. "Nora, I saw the video. This is insane. They ambushed you." "They destroyed me, Ray, in front of everyone." "No, they showed everyone who they really are." "And Nora, the mayor called a do-over. He wants to hold another ceremony, properly this time, with security to keep them out." I stared at the ceiling of my loft, the river lights playing across it like they had that night I'd first said no. "A do-over," I repeated. "Yeah, and Nora Quinn called me. She says this stunt violated the restraining order, added defamation charges, and gave you enough ammunition to bury them legally. She wants to know if you want to go nuclear." I thought about Mom's cold smile, Dad's booming lies, Mason's entitled rage. "Yes," I said. "I want to go nuclear." Quinn Mercer's office at 8:30 a.m. Monday felt like a war room. Papers covered the conference table transcripts, screenshots, bank statements, police reports. She'd brought in her paralegal, Janet, and a private investigator named Marcus Webb. "They handed us a gift," Quinn said, sliding the news footage across the table. "Violating a restraining order on camera, defamation in front of witnesses, intentional infliction of emotional distress. But we're going bigger." "How much bigger?" I asked. "Full offensive." Marcus, the PI, a former state trooper with sharp eyes, opened his laptop. "I've been digging since Friday. Your mother gave Mason your door code on camera. Your doorbell caught it. October 9th, 3:14 p.m. She's holding a piece of paper with the code written on it, handing it to him." He clicked to another file. "The U-Haul rental in your mother's name, paid with her credit card. She rented it knowing you'd refused access. That's conspiracy to commit trespass." Another click. "The anonymous ethics complaint to your employer. I pulled the metadata. Sent from your mother's home IP address." But here's the interesting part. The writing style analysis matches Mason's social media posts at 92% certainty. They collaborated. Quinn leaned forward. "There's more." Janet, the paralegal, an older woman with reading glasses on a chain, pulled out her files. "I found 7 other people Mason's done this to. 3 ex-girlfriends, 2 former roommates, 2 employers. Same pattern: move in, destroy property, threaten when confronted. Parents intervene to prevent consequences. Dorothy Chin was just the tip of the iceberg." "We're building a RICO case," I asked, half joking. "Better," Quinn said. "We're going to prove systematic harassment, conspiracy, and fraud. But first, we need the platform." She pulled out a letter from the mayor's office. "He's offered to hold the makeup ceremony this Saturday. Public forum format, meaning anyone can speak for 3 minutes. The entire town will be there. Media, too." "They'll show up again." "We're counting on it. Marcus will have serving papers ready. But more importantly, we're going to present evidence, publicly, legally, on record. Like a trial. Like a reckoning." The mayors agreed to have courthouse security present, given last week's incident. The district attorney's office will have a representative there, standard for public forums. We're going to put on a show they'll never forget. We spent the week preparing like it was a military operation. Marcus tracked down 2 more of Mason's victims willing to provide statements. Dorothy Chin agreed to attend in person. Jules prepared an official HR letter about the false complaint. Even building security from my apartment provided footage and statements. Thursday brought an unexpected ally. Tessa, Mason's girlfriend, called Quinn's office. I want to help, she said. I'm leaving Mason. What he did at that ceremony was disgusting, and there are things you don't know. We met her at a coffee shop at 2 p.m. She looked exhausted, older than her 26 years. I'm not pregnant, she said first. Mason's been telling everyone I am to get sympathy. I haven't been with him in 2 months. I've been staying with my sister, trying to leave safely. She pulled out her phone, showing text after text, Mason's escalating threats, demands for money, accusations of betrayal when she suggested getting jobs. And this, she said, scrolling to a group text. Your mom coaching him on what to say to manipulate you. Look at the timestamp 2 days before they showed up with the U-Haul. Lorraine's text read, Tell Nora you'll be homeless. Mention Tessa's pregnant. If she still says no, we go with Plan B, public pressure. She won't risk her reputation. Plan B, I repeated. There's more, Tessa said. They've been planning to sue you for months, before you even said no. Your mom found some lawyer who takes cases on contingency, promised him 30% if they could force a settlement. Quinn's smile was sharp. Tessa, would you be willing to testify? After what they did to Nora at that ceremony? Absolutely. So, Friday, we filed our cross complaints: financial fraud, defamation, conspiracy to commit trespass, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false reporting, harassment. The total damages claimed $150,000 plus punitive damages to be determined. The mayor called me personally that evening. Nora, I want to apologize for last week. We should have handled it better. It's not your fault. Mayor Phillips. Still, tomorrow's ceremony will be different. We'll have proper security, controlled access, and a court reporter to document everything said during the public forum. Thank you. Nora, your mother's been calling my office all day, demanding to speak. She knows about tomorrow. Let her come, I said. We'll be ready. That night, I laid out everything on my dining table, every document, every recording, every piece of evidence that proved the truth. 10 years of manipulation, abuse, and theft, all documented, all verified, all ready. Quinn called at 10:15 p.m. You ready for this? I've been ready for 10 years. I just didn't know it. Tomorrow, we end this, publicly, permanently. They wanted to destroy your reputation. We're going to destroy their narrative. With facts. I picked up the photo from my deployment. My unit gathered around a Humvee. All of us dirty and exhausted but smiling. We'd had each other's backs in actual danger. Tomorrow, I'd finally have my own back against the enemies who shared my blood. Let's do it, I said. The second homecoming ceremony would be different. This time, I wouldn't be ambushed. This time, I had ammunition of my own. The gymnasium's new setup included a large projection screen behind the podium, supposedly for displaying veteran photos during the ceremony. Quinn had suggested it to the mayor, who'd agreed immediately. What he didn't know was that Janet had loaded our entire evidence file onto a presentation remote I held in my pocket. The crowd was bigger this time, drawn by last week's viral drama. I stood with the other veterans, dress uniform pressed, bronze star pinned precisely. Mom, Dad, and Mason sat in the third row, having arrived early to claim prominent seats. Mom wore her church dress, the navy one that photographed well. Mayor Phillips opened with apologies for last week's disruption and promised a respectful ceremony. He'd barely finished when Mom stood. I'd like to speak during the public forum portion, she announced. Ma'am, that comes after the honors. Then I'll wait. She sat back down, that cold smile already in place. The ceremony proceeded through 5 veterans. Then my name was called. I walked to the podium, took the microphone, and clicked the remote in my pocket. The screen lit up with the first slide, evidence of systematic fraud and harassment. Thank you, Mayor Phillips, I said calmly. Before I accept this honor, I need to address last week's public accusations with documented facts. Click. The screen showed the email I'd sent October 10th. You do not have permission to enter my property. This was sent 5 days before my family attempted to move into my home without consent. Click. Doorbell footage played Mom handing Mason a paper with my door code. Timestamp visible October 9th, 3:14 p.m. My mother provided unauthorized access to my property before I explicitly denied permission. Mom shot to her feet. "This is ridiculous." "Ma'am, please wait for the public forum," the mayor said. Two security officers moved closer. Click. The U-Haul rental agreement appeared, Mom's signature highlighted. The truck was rented in my mother's name after I'd refused access. Conspiracy to commit trespass. Click. The police report filled the screen. Officer Martinez's signature visible. October 13th. Formal trespass warning issued. Mason Caldwell picked up a rock, threatening property damage. Click. Security footage from Meridian Apex played Mason in the lobby. Audio clear. "You're going to regret this. I promise you'll pay." Criminal threats, documented and witnessed. Click. The ethics complaint appeared alongside IP tracking data. Anonymous false complaint to my employer, traced to my parents' home IP address. The crowd was dead silent now. Phones out, recording everything. Click. A timeline appeared. 10 years of financial exploitation, total $43,700. Each entry included bank records, text messages begging for repayment, broken promises. Click. Dorothy Pack's affidavit appeared. Key phrases highlighted. My brother's pattern extends beyond family. 7 documented victims over 5 years. Mason started to stand but stopped when a security officer stepped forward. Click. The group text appeared. Mom's message huge on the screen. "Tell Nora you'll be homeless. Mention Tessa's pregnant. If she still says no, we go with Plan B, public pressure." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Plan B," I said. "Last week's ambush was premeditated." Click. Tessa's statement appeared, with her consent to share. Mason's girlfriend confirms she's not pregnant. Never was. It was a manipulation tactic. Click. The final slide. Legal actions filed. The list was comprehensive. Restraining order granted. Cross-complaint for fraud, $43,700. Defamation damages. Conspiracy charges pending. Criminal threats under investigation. Quinn stood up from her seat, briefcase in hand. "If I may, Mayor Phillips." He nodded, seemingly stunned. Quinn walked forward, Marcus Webb beside her. "I'm Ms. Caldwell's attorney. We have court orders to serve." She handed papers to the sheriff's deputy, who walked them to my parents and Mason. "Permanent restraining orders, effective immediately. Cross-complaint for damages. And Mr. Mason Caldwell, you're being formally notified of criminal charges filed by the District Attorney's Office for Criminal Threats and violation of a protective order." The District Attorney's representative, a young ADA named Sarah Kim, stood. "Mr. Caldwell, you'll need to report for booking within 48 hours. Mom's face had gone from red to white to purple. "This is entrapment." She set us up. "No, Mom," I said into the microphone. "You set yourselves up. I just documented it." The mayor cleared his throat. The public forum is now open." Mom stormed to the podium, shoving past me. "This is a witch hunt. My daughter has manipulated everything she's—" "Ma'am." The court reporter interrupted. "You're under oath in a public forum. Perjury laws apply." Mom's mouth opened and closed. Mason couldn't contain himself. "She owes us after everything we— Everything you what?" I asked. "Everything you stole. Every opportunity you destroyed. Every lie you told." Tessa stood up in the back. "I have something to add." She walked forward, hands shaking but voice steady. "Mason told everyone I was pregnant to manipulate his sister. I'm not. He's been emotionally and financially abusive for 2 years. His parents enabled it every step." Dorothy Pack rose next. "Mason lived with me rent-free, destroyed my apartment, threatened my pet. When I tried to involve police, Lorraine Caldwell begged me not to, promised he'd change. He never did. One by one, others stood. Former roommates Mason had screwed over. A small business owner he'd stolen from, even the owner of the U-Haul place. describing property damage from previous rentals. Dad grabbed Mom's arm. "We're leaving." But the sheriff's deputy blocked their path. "Sir, your wife was speaking at the podium. Public forum rules require her to finish or formally yield." So, Mom turned back to the microphone, her practiced victim mask finally cracking. For once, she had no words. "I yield," she whispered. The mayor stood. "Given the evidence presented, this office formally apologizes to Sergeant Caldwell for last week's disruption of her honors. The city of Cedar Grove recognizes her service and her character." The gymnasium erupted in applause. Not everyone some of Mom's church friends sat stone-faced, but enough. More than enough. As security escorted my family out, Mom turned back one last time. The cold smile was gone, replaced by something I'd never seen before defeat. I walked back to the podium, accepted my certificate of appreciation, and said simply, "When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them, document it, and protect yourself." The applause this time was thunderous. The gymnasium's side door opened to October wind that cut through my dress uniform. Ray stood waiting with my Army buddies, Sergeant Bradley, Specialist Torres, and Lieutenant Morrison. They'd driven 2 hours to be here. "That was beautiful," Torres said, pulling me into a hug. "Absolutely beautiful." We walked together toward the parking lot, our steps echoing off the wet pavement. Behind us, the gymnasium still buzzed with conversation, people processing what they'd just witnessed. My phone vibrated constantly in my pocket, but I didn't check it. Not yet. Jules met us by my car, her husband David beside her. "Legal just called. Meridian's CEO watched the live stream. He wants to promote you to Director of Strategic Campaigns. Says anyone who can manage that level of strategic planning belongs in senior leadership." I actually laughed, the first real laugh in weeks. Quinn appeared, Marcus Webb at her side. "The DA's office wants to pursue maximum charges against Mason. That security footage from your office was the nail in the coffin." "And my parents. The restraining order's permanent, 2 years minimum. If they violate it, it's immediate jail time. The civil suit will likely settle. Their homeowner's insurance has already reached out about covering the defamation portion." My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. A text from the court clerk. "Restraining order officially in effect as of 4:47 p.m., October 21st. Another buzz. An email notification. "Cedar Grove District Court summons issued for Mason Caldwell. Criminal case number." And another. This one made me stop walking. It was from Dad's phone, but the words were Mom's "You win." 2 words. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just the admission of defeat from someone who'd never lost a manipulation game before. Ray looked over my shoulder. "That's it after everything." "That's more than I expected," I said, deleting the message. "They're not capable of more." We stood in the parking lot as the crowd filtered out of the gymnasium. Some people nodded at me with respect. Others hurried past, uncomfortable with having witnessed such raw family dysfunction. The mayor stopped to shake my hand again, confirming the certificate would be mailed to avoid any further incidents. Dorothy Pack approached with Tessa. "Thank you," Dorothy said, "for being brave enough to go public. I never could have." "You did today," I reminded her. "That took courage." Tessa shifted nervously. "Nora, I'm leaving town, starting fresh in Columbus. Mason doesn't know yet, but my sister's already moved my things." "Good for you," I said, meaning it. "Don't look back." As they walked away, Lieutenant Morrison pulled out his phone. "The video's already at 200,000 views. Comments are about 90% in your favor. 10% still think I'm a monster for turning on family. 10% would side with serial killers if they smiled nicely," he said. "Forget them." Quinn's phone rang. She answered, listened, then smiled. "Mason just tried to enter your apartment building. Security detained him. He's being arrested for violating the restraining order, which was literally just served 2 hours ago." "He couldn't even make it 3 hours," Ray said, shaking her head. "It's like they're compelled to self-destruct." My phone rang. Building security. Ms. Caldwell. Mr. Mason Caldwell has been arrested on site. Police are asking if you want to press additional trespassing charges. Yes, I said without hesitation. Add every possible charge. We finally made it to our cars. My unit insisted on taking me to dinner, victory meal. Bradley called it. As I opened my car door, one last notification popped up. An email from Mom's sister, Aunt Patricia, who'd been silent through everything, saw the ceremony. About time someone stood up to Lorraine. She's been a bully since childhood. Proud of you. I sat in my driver's seat for a moment, engine running, heat finally kicking in. Through the windshield, I could see the gymnasium where twice I'd faced my demons, once in ambush, once in triumph. The banner still hung, "Welcome home, heroes." For the first time in my life, I actually felt like one. My phone showed 11:53 p.m. when I finally got home to my loft. The river reflected city lights like scattered stars. I poured a glass of wine, stood at my window, and realized something profound. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was peaceful. No guilt-laden texts. No manipulation waiting in voicemails. No family members with their hands out and their hearts closed. Just peace. I pulled out my phone one last time and turned off the recording app that had captured everything tonight. Evidence secured. Battle won. War over. The restraining orders would hold them back legally. The public humiliation would hold them back socially. The criminal charges would hold Mason specifically. But most importantly, I'd hold myself differently now. No more setting myself on fire to keep others warm. No more blood-based extortion. No more accepting dysfunction disguised as family values. I raised my glass to the river view I'd earned through my own labor, in the home I'd protected with my own backbone, living the life I'd built despite their best efforts to tear it down. Here's to boundaries, I said to the empty room, and to the beautiful freedom on the other side of no. Thank you for listening to this story of standing up against family manipulation and abuse. I'm curious to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and let's connect. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts. Have you ever had to set hard boundaries with family? How did you find the strength your stories matter too? And I'd love to hear them in the comments.